If we started a company together, probably the first thing I would say to you is like, hey, we need a bank account. And like the reason I'd say that is because like we're going to raise some money, someplace to store it. We probably need to pay bills, maybe earn some yield. That used to mean I need a bank. Now it's not.
Hi there, Internet. It's Mike from QuickNote, and I'm here with Garret from Altitude, part of Squads, I guess?
Squads is the company, and then we have Squads Multisig, which is a product that a lot of people have known us for. It's been around for about 5 years, and now we have Altitude.
For people that are unaware of Squads, it's one of the more foundational programs on Solana. Do you want to give it a history of Squads?
We started in about 2021. This is when everyone was going to be a DAO. And so if you're going to be a DAO, you probably had an on-chain program, and then you eventually had your own token. And you needed a way to secure and manage those. And back in the day, there really wasn't a great way to do that, especially on Solana. So Squads came out building for those DAOs. And then over time, it just became the multi-sig. Like multiple people can control, manage, make payments, etc.
There's a point, which is very early on, which you need serious controls about who can spend money, and Squads has really been the platform that does that.
Exactly. If you don't have a lot of value, it doesn't matter that much. You're like, I just want to learn and explore. But once you have a company or you raise some funds or like me and you start a company together, we need some controls here just in case.
I found that envelope I had with the seed phrase and our life savings that we've put into our startup has gone away.
Exactly. Now Squad secures about 15 billion in value. If you're starting today building on Solana, you probably want to set up a squad to secure your program upgrade authority. And then once you actually raise some money and you start doing operations, you do payments, maybe even payroll or paying vendors, that's when Altitude comes in.
Altitude's really interesting because you've now created a product that is really basically for the CFO, right?
Yeah, it's the best way to describe it, honestly. You have Squads Multisig, the software base people know it as. It's built on top of our core program. And those smart contracts really power all of our products. So it's just different interfaces built on the same infrastructure because you have different use cases. Where in Squads, we're a team, securing programs, tokens, we're trading. Once you get to the point where you're like, I have stablecoins, cash management, I just need to run my business, that's when Altitude comes into play. You get an Altitude account, so let's just say it takes 24 to 48 hours to get approved. At that point, you get access to US banking rails, free ACH and wire payments, and then also payments in the EU. So you have a SEPA IBAN. Immediately, you could be based out of the Cayman Islands. You get access to US banking rails and EU banking rails. But on top of that, like everything is held in stablecoins in Altitude. So it could be for companies that want to operate in stablecoins because that's what they think is more optimal, or it's because they just receive a portion of their treasury in stablecoins from vendors or whatever it might be. Then you have others just don't have access to premium financial services at all. They don't care about stablecoins necessarily. They just want access to better banking rails, and that's what Altitude does.
I figure there's a lot of customers who just would treat Altitude as a bank.
Yeah. If we started a company together, probably the first thing I would say to you is, hey, we need a bank account. The reason I'd say that is because like we're going to raise some money, someplace to store it. We probably need to pay bills, maybe earn some yield. That used to mean I need a bank. Now it's not. All those things I just described, which are financial services, you don't need a bank. Now you can do so just with software like us, and it can be self-custodial.
So one of the things that I quite enjoy about crypto is that when I was a kid, you used to be able to have a savings account and you would get some interest on it. And that was actually substantial. It was in at least the single digits. In the 80s, I think it might have crept up to like double digits.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
That's kind of disappeared now. Banks are commonly giving people like 0.5%, whereas like in crypto, we have yield. Usually there's an institution on the other side that's doing some lending and they're paying back interest on that, and that interest is coming back to you. It's the same way a retail bank works in terms of consolidating savings accounts and loading those out to people who want mortgages. So one of the benefits of running a stablecoin first business is being able to get yield. Can people do that through Altitude?
So right now we have this thing called Altitude Rewards. Your deposits are backed by US Treasuries managed by BlackRock, which right now is like 3.3, 3.4%, 150 plus countries now get access to Treasury rewards. And now we're going to add in other products as well in there. We have things like bill pay launched today, invoicing, corporate cards is coming. Once you have all those things, you have the full financial stack, and you could do this without stablecoins, but it's much more efficient with it. We want to do anything that can save people time. So you can think like very basic level. You have an operating account in Altitude. You set a policy that once that gets above 10K, because that's how much capital I really want my operating, automatically sweep that into my different yield product. And then you could say, oh, I know I have liabilities coming up at the end of the month, automatically sweep it back. That's just very high level there. You can get more nuanced over time. And so I think that's going to be really cool and save people time.
Yeah, I feel that this is a complete treasury product for a business. The alternative would have been gluing 15 things together yourself and probably coming up with a result that's not really going to be worth it.
Yeah, some people have a good setup today. A lot of people don't. Finances matter a lot, but they're building a product. And that's where their focus is. And they might have okay banking in the US, but anytime they need to make a payment in Europe, the conversion fees and off-ramps are super hefty. And then when they need to make stablecoin payments, they might even send it to just like the founder's hot wallet. For accounting and tracking, it's just a headache that you shouldn't have to have. So Altitude brings your stablecoin payments, your fiat payments, all in one. And then we also have like accounting integrations, et cetera. So it makes that part easy. I have this phrase I think is cool, but no one else does. Stablecoins have sped up payments, but they slowed down everything else. You're a CFO and you're at the business, you think you have a cool product, your CEO is like, hey, we manage our balance sheet in stablecoins. You're like, okay. And then you start doing it and you're like, I have no invoicing, I have no bill pay. It's not connected to traditional fiat rails. It's just a headache. And then approval sometimes, like we have no approvals. It's like all the tools they're used to in Web 2, they just didn't have. And now you can have that. And you can also get the benefits of stablecoins like rewards, yield. You can bring in tokenized assets. We have some of this today, but I think in the future it's going to grow a lot. So you have like RWAs. I think that's going to be a big part of not just Altitude, but products that are in the crypto space. I think the world from an entrepreneurial perspective is only getting more global. What is the future? I don't know. I do think there will be more founders. It's easier than ever to code something up. So I think that is a big boon for people building this space to have global financial access. And that's something that we're building for and something that I'm like really excited about. In the US, we do have pretty good banking. It's not the best, but as soon as you start going global, it's really hard.
I'm really excited about this kind of generation of crypto products. I would put you in there. I would put Lulo and Pyre in there that feel like just financial products rather than crypto products with the benefits of crypto where you need them. You're working on something very cool. How did you get into tech? How did you get into blockchain? And how did you get into squads and Altitude?
Yeah, it's a good question. I first started in private equity. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Studied finance and honestly didn't find it that interesting. But private equity was cool. I did senior living investing actually, just like really random, but a great business.
Retirement homes.
A lot of people are getting older and it's a good business to be in. But eventually I just got tired of it. I wanted to do something new, wanted to get into tech. This is 2017 and I heard about Bitcoin somehow. I remember when I was thinking about what industry I wanted to go into and you're like, I'm competing against these people that have been in this industry for 30 years. Crypto and stablecoins, no one's been here for 30 years. I really want to get into tech. And if it was in the blockchain crypto space, even better. And I also am ready to get out of Texas. I started Googling all those things together and I found this company in Australia. It was an agriculture company and they basically had software that would track grain at the farm, at the warehouse, and with the trader. Provenance was really big. They started to do some experiments in the blockchain space, and we did some asset-backed loans. We did some proof of concepts with banks that it's like their version of stablecoin. Back then, it was like only Ethereum, and it was very expensive. Not the right time. But I got into space through that, and then in COVID, when the market collapsed, everything went up afterwards, I started really diving deep into all the protocols and the white papers that were coming out constantly. It was just like a nerd snipe. Got into that. Convinced myself I didn't need a job. If you were trading, felt like you were really, really smart.
Yeah. Everyone's done it for 6 months at some point. If you haven't, you should. You're not going to make money, but you will learn.
Eventually, I realized I needed a job. But during that time, I had started writing on Substack, and I started writing about not only crypto, but some of crypto. And then I started putting out embarrassing TikToks that were educational about crypto.
I would never do an embarrassing video. I take this really seriously. You can debase yourself if you want.
Did, unfortunately. But it did pretty well, and Jason Yanowitz was at Blockworks. They had a position open for podcast producer. I know nothing about producing. I do know this space pretty well. So I sent him my articles, I sent him my TikTok, and I just told him why I thought it'd be good for the job. He ended up hiring me. So I did a podcast producer role for about 2 years and helped him launch a lot of their podcasts. I had to research all the guests. You have to listen to the podcast after, so you're taking it a ton. I think on Spotify, they do the Wrapped. No one had listened to more podcasts than me.
Wow.
And then Solana crashed with FTX. We were already looking at Solana in the sense we thought it was really interesting. We might want to do a podcast. And we were like, you know what? We still think it has a chance to come back. This is a really good time to start creating content around it. So somehow I ended up being a host of the Solana podcast, and I met all the founders in the space. Sol was like $12. And then over that year, not because of me, but maybe because of me, Sol went to like 100.
Yeah.
Met all these founders, became a big fan of the space, and really connected with everyone there. And then Squad Stepan just messaged me one day and asked if I was looking for a role. I was like, I'm not looking. Then skipped 3 months ahead and I was working at Squads. I just met all the founders. Even if it was a different product, I would work with those guys.
Excellent. Where do you think everything is going? Not just for Altitude, but for like whole of, I guess, tech in general.
That's hard, man. Obviously, AI has kind of captured everyone's imagination. So that's not going anywhere. Sure. Stablecoin space feels like it's almost at an all-time high, but then the rest of crypto, at least from price perspective, is way down. But you come to things like Mountain DAO and you see a ton of talent here. And I think it's just an evolution of where the products go. So again, for stablecoins to really have their full potential, you need this whole tokenization market to take off outside of just money. I like to invest in tokenized assets. I think if you want commodities, different metals, gold, like all of that, I want to be able to trade it really easily in one place. Like Altitude's trying to bring all your financial operations in one place. That includes like trading assets. I want to have one place to do almost all my trading activity. And that's something that like tokenized assets enable.
What an awesome time to be not just in crypto, but in finance. Garret from Altitude.
Thanks for having me.